Hello, good morning. Well, good afternoon, good evening. I am Sandy Shook. I am here, Coffee with Sandy, and the mission with Coffee with Sandy is really to bring hope to others, just because we all know that our lives will change. They may not be something that we expected to be in our lives, but we really do. I want to bring out the message that the hope for a future that actually was something that you had no idea you were going to be in. And I have the pleasure of sitting with Tiffany this morning. And Tiffany, I'm wondering if you could actually just introduce yourself to everybody.
Yes, hi, my name is Tiffany Antone. I am an Allstate agent here locally in the Colorado Springs area. I've lived in Colorado off and on for probably over 20 years. Before working in insurance, I was a social worker here in the area, so I probably had an opportunity to serve a large majority of the Colorado Springs area.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. So what I actually have asked everybody is, first of all, when you were young, like when you were in second grade, I don't know, some people go through second grade like really early, but it's probably about 10 to 12-year-old-ish. Do you know what you wanted to be when you were that young?
I think at that time I wanted to be like a teacher or a doctor. Like you kind of only knew about those little professions that you dressed up as children. So
yes.
Those were kind of like my two options of what I thought I could be.
That's great. Did that change when you were in high school?
Yes, but in high school I really 100% didn't know what I wanted to be. I knew I loved psychology, but didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with that. So.
Oh wow. So in your introduction you did say that do you have a psychology degree or?
Yes, I got my bachelor's in science and psychology with my minor in forensic science.
Oh wow. Wow, what made you go there?
So I was really always interested in the forensic realm, and then I was going to UCCS, and they actually had one of the best, it was actually forensic nursing understudies that you could do with some of the most amazing professors from around the world. So once I found out about their program, I was really excited about it.
That's cool. And were they actually local here, or did you at that time was it remote teaching?
Oh yeah, no, the classes were all local. They were all held in school, and so specifically for the forensic classes, it was interesting because they were all held as winterims, which means every time everybody else was out of school, like for vacations and stuff, you were in school Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 6.
Wow.
So I never got a break.
Yeah. And did you actually graduate earlier than expected because of that, or was it a longer program?
It was like a semester earlier.
Okay.
But yeah, in order to get the certificate, I did still attend a couple classes after I was officially graduated to get the certificate. So. Very
nice. So what were some of your favorite classes in school, grade school or high school?
I struggled with the sciences, even though I liked them a lot.
Yeah.
I really liked science a lot, but there's a lot of gray area, and I've always been like a really black and white, like math, there's an answer. So I've always done better with those, but I always liked the science classes. And then, of course, I really loved the psychology classes. Anything like sociology, those type of things were always very interesting to me.
Yeah, so Alex, my youngest, he just does not like biology. And that's what keeps him out of the sciences because, and he'd be really good at it, but he's just like biology. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not always the same.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the reason. It's not black and white, it's research after research and Yeah, and
kind of inferring your own thoughts from what the material that's presented. So it's not a strong suit for everybody.
Yeah. So then you mentioned your grandma and grandpa. So you had a really good relationship with them growing up. Were you involved a lot, or were they involved a lot in your life when you were growing up?
Yes, absolutely. So my grandparents had 7 kids, so tons of cousins. Like we all kind of grew up in the same town. Like we would ride our bikes all over town and stuff. And so some of my absolute favorite memories was like around the holidays, like all of us would get together around Thanksgiving and hang out at the grandparents' house. But I lived in the same small town as 3 sets of grandparents because I had my dad's parents, my mom's parents, and my stepdad's parents all in the same town. So around Christmas time, I would literally ride to one grandparent's house on my bicycle and help them set up their Christmas tree and then go to the next one, the next one. I was always the one. And so it's super special to me now that some of them have passed on that I've somehow inherited their Christmas decorations, which is so
that just
meaningful
gave me
to
chills.
me.
That's cool.
Because
Yeah.
I was the one who always helped set them up, and I didn't ask for the Christmas. It's just they somehow found their way to me, and I've always thought that was like super magical. So
Yeah.
I love Christmas time just for putting up the decorations because it just brings me back so much nostalgia. When
Yeah.
I get out all the decorations. So.
Yeah. So again, in some sort of loss, you can find that happy peace that brings back good memories.
Yeah. 100%.
So were you in sports in high school?
Yes. So, well, especially like in this one high school that I went to, I have to tell, when people say that they went to the smallest school, I'm like, no. I went to a school in Kansas where it was kindergarten through high school, all in the same building. And I had 8 kids in my graduating class. So we had so few students that we were required to participate in every single sport that they had.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a blessing. Like, I loved sports. I was never super good at them, but I loved them the same. And so
it just helped you be more competitive.
Yeah, I love being a part of a team and just you get all excited when you do well and stuff. I could just be cheering on the bench and that was just fine with me. I just wanted to be involved. So, but yes, I participated in a whole lot of sports.
Did you have a favorite sport?
Volleyball was always my favorite.
Okay.
I absolutely loved volleyball.
Me too. Yeah. If I could have made a career playing volleyball, but yeah, I mean, I had the drive, just not the talent, I think. I don't know.
Me too.
And of course, I grew up in a small town, so it was great that our schools allowed us to, try out. And most of the sports that we had in our school, I mean, I graduated with 168, I think, in my class in high school. And, but I think we all, when we tried out for something, if we showed some sort of drive, we made the team regardless. And the basketball team that I was on, we actually went to state, and it was class AA, and they will never be AA again because I think at that year they had more kids in the school. I don't know. I really have no idea how that came out, but I sat the bench for most of the games that we played, but it was such a great experience just being part of the team and being able to cheer on, the players that, became your friends. Yeah. So were you a cheerleader at all?
No.
No. It is a sport too.
Yes, it is 100%. And I love you cheerleaders out there, 100%. It just wasn't for me.
Yep.
I was my daughter's biggest cheerleader.
Yes. So where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was a military child and then a military spouse, so I've really lived all over. I was born in a really, really small town in Kansas, and that's where a lot of my family comes from, and where I feel like a lot of my morals and stuff comes from. I still hold the door for people. When people's sick, you take them food. That's just kind of how we grew up. So, but then I kind of lived all over after that. But I've been in Colorado off and on for 20 to 25 years.
Wow! So. And then you decided to settle here because of.
Well, I came here for college, and then I just kind of kept coming back here. There's a lot to love about the Colorado Springs area. It's getting a little bit bigger than I would like right now, but I feel like it's almost always kept that small hometown vibe where you see the people that out on the streets, and it's like a friendly, welcoming a lot of times. The mountains are just absolutely beautiful. I don't think you have any better views than anywhere in Colorado Springs. We just came up third again on the best places to live in the United States.
Everybody else just kind of stay away.
But I love hiking. I love all the fun outdoor stuff here to do. So
and you can do it 24/7. You can do it 365 days of the year, really, if you want. And that's what I love about Colorado. Because coming from Minnesota, it's like you can still do things in Minnesota, but you freeze in the winter. At least here, you choose to freeze.
Yeah.
So insurance then. How did you end up in insurance?
Well, so interesting enough, I actually got recruited to sell for Allstate Insurance right out of high school.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and so back a long time ago.
Wow.
And yes, I went in and I started doing that, and I was one of the top producers
Was it from a job fair or what was
No,
it?
no. So I worked for Fairfield Resorts in their activity center through high school. And the people who own the hot air balloon company, they were getting ready to open an all-state office, and they knew me. They knew that I was like really personable, and so they actually asked me to come on board with them when they knew that they needed a person on staff with them. So they sent me through the process to get licensed and all of that. I did really, really well through high school during that time. But I guess I'll be honest, they weren't paying me my commissions. So I did it for about a year. I was doing really, really well, but I wasn't paid what I was told I was going to get paid. So I decided to go back to college, and I sold for an independent agency here in Colorado Springs for a little bit of college as well. But then I got out, I did social work for 20 years. And so what brought me back to it is I'm a single parent. My cousin came for a visit, and she was actually selling insurance. She owned an agency, and she was telling me about how many opportunities it opened up for her and her daughter. And so she was the one who kind of lit the fire under me again to do that. I wanted to be able to provide a better future for my daughter, and that's really helped me to be able to do that. So.
And she just graduated high school. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Woo! Yes. We all did it. Yay. So when the first job that you had didn't work out and you decided to go back to school, was that something that, I'm trying to just really bring out, looking at the future, what your self was like back then? How did you pick yourself up from knowing that you weren't really getting paid your worth? That's awesome, because at that age, it's hard to know sometimes what your worth is. Yeah. And for you to be able to branch out into something else, what gave you the courage to do that?
God, I think when we're younger, we're so adaptable, and we kind of jump sometimes and hope that we're going to land in the right spot. Well, and then unfortunately, it was like another setback that kind of led me on my next journey. My grandfather had passed away, and my grandmother was back in Kansas by herself, and so I decided to move back there with her for a while to take care of her. And I was like, well, while I'm here, I need to do something meaningful. They had a community college, so I was like, well, let me go to college. And so I kind of stumbled upon my way, if I'm being honest, but I knew I loved psychology, and I started studying that, and then, that's kind of what led me into the social work field. So.
Yeah, wow, that's cool. So I'm sure that you had a lot of did you work with teens in social work, or what kind of families did you work with?
Yes, I worked with a lot of different types of programs. I started as a military spouse working with the military community through a couple of different organizations there. And then I worked with a Head Start program here, working primarily with the little babies from 0 to 3, and I worked with their families that were transitioning. And then I started working with a program. It was through the child abuse and neglect system, but it was the teens that were coming out of the juvenile justice center trying to return home. And I worked with them through that process, and that was probably one of the jobs that I was the most passionate about doing, was being able to help the teen population. There, a lot of them just want somebody to look up to and somebody to help guide them.
Yeah. So. Are you involved in anything, any of the programs here in town then, outside of what you do? Yeah,
not currently with the teens. So then after I did the child support stuff, I started working with the Resource Exchange here, which works with people with developmental disabilities and their families. And I did that for a very long time. So that's kind of where my heart is at. And I'm really wanting to get more involved in like the Special Olympics, stuff like that. I absolutely love the families that I met through that process. So that's an organization that I'm super passionate about, is the Special Olympics. And
that's great.
Yeah.
But because you're still building your business, you've been the owner of Allstate downtown. I don't know what address it is, but
down on Say Home.
You've been there how long?
So I've only been at that location for a little over 2 years. I've owned my Allstate agency for about 4.5 to 5 years now. So that's
awesome, and you help a lot of my clients. So at least give them some sort of hope that I can do this. Yeah. And when you and I met, we met at a Avalanche game. Right?
Yes, we did.
That was and I think it was Melanie that I had last week. That's why I said, you were the one that was sitting up in the front, and I just went and sat with you because it was a crowd of strangers.
Yes.
And so do you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert?
Oh.
Or one of the, like me, an extroverted introvert?
Yes, yes, I'm either that or the introverted extrovert. I don't know, because like I have moments where like if I have to put myself out there, I can.
Yeah.
And it's fun because if I'm in a crowd of people, if I know one other person, I typically feel pretty comfortable. And you can put me up on any stage to talk about, like as long as it's a subject I know. I don't get like fear of like speaking in front of public crowds at all. But if I have to go out and like on my own, like meet somebody that I don't know at all, like in a networking event, that's very difficult for me. But as we discussed, you got to do things outside of your comfort zone. That's how you grow.
Yes. So before we actually started recording, you did say that your dream job. I mean, right now, I think you are kind of in the greatest place to be right now because you're growing and you're making inroads for women in business, in my opinion. I just really, I'm so grateful to know you because you definitely give, hope to others that are afraid to try. So what is it that you actually, what is it that drives you?
Well, so first of all, what I love about being in insurance and doing what I do is through the social work, like I loved helping people. And so I feel like I'm still able to do that in insurance. I love taking the time with our customers. If you check us out online, like we have amazing reviews, it's because I genuinely care. Like and my whole team, like it's super important to me that we take the time with our customers to make them feel like they have some place to go we've had customers leave us who still call us with questions with insurance because they know that we're going to take the time and help them understand and explain. So I'm super passionate about that. And I think I was also talking with you about the fact that like, if I were ever to change jobs or even like want to do something else while I'm doing this, it's to mentor other people who would like to own their own businesses someday. I'm super passionate about that. I know for me, it was super scary kind of taking that step, but right away, like you could see the benefits of being able to do that and trust in yourself. And I'm a big believer that like your life next year starts with every decision that you make today. And it's all those little small decisions that you make today that's going to determine where you are 6 months and a year from now. So if you're not happy with where you are, you really have to take a look at like, what do I want to change and what steps can I take right now to do that? And sometimes you just got to take a leap. But people are scared, they don't know where to get started. So if I can help them like understand, I love writing business plans. I'm a complete nerd about that. Kind of understanding like who they're trying to appeal to, what they're selling, like how they want to get that message out there. That gets me super passionate because I feel like everybody has little entrepreneurs in them.
Yes, I agree with that. I had a conversation with somebody just last week about when we were younger, all of us, I come from a family of 8 kids. And all of us had a paper route at one point in our lives, just to learn how to be responsible, to do the collection of money. That was always the hardest because, it wasn't on, like now, people pay things online where we actually had to go door to door and, collect the $5 a month that people paid for their newspaper, and if they didn't answer the door, you had to make the decision, okay, one more try, or do they not get the paper anymore? It's things like that, just the start of the responsibility piece. And I don't know, I think that that's incredible when we can actually pass that along to somebody. And I think it's cool that you are passionate about building business plans. But the thing is I think that that's the hardest thing too, is that when somebody doesn't know where to start, at least to have somebody in their corner that says, okay, write down these things, pros and cons, or what is it that you want to accomplish. So yeah, that's great to know that.
Just little building blocks, one piece at a time.
Yeah,
you don't want to be overwhelmed by the big picture, but just
right. Yeah, as long as you have a goal in mind.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the questions too I always ask is if you are a risk taker.
I would say yes. A calculated risk taker. I'm a Virgo, and I feel like I fit my thing, and they're really not typically like risk takers. We don't like to be spontaneous, but I like to do calculated and planned risks like a lot. And I have jumped out of an airplane. I have bungee jumped. I've done.
You did do bungee jumping?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I bungee jumped when I was 14 and then skydived when I was 24.
Wow.
So There are definitely some risks that I'm willing to take and stuff. But I feel like in order to grow, you have to be willing to take risks. And I'm a real big believer on taking calculated risks and putting yourself out there in situations. So,
Wow.
yeah, I've moved away from my family right away when I was 18. I just had to go try it out. I guess I know I always have a soft place to land, so that helps me feel a little bit safer with that. But
I guess I didn't realize that about you because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 20 though when I did that
Yeah.
and moved out here. So, and I haven't been back.
Yeah.
Of course, I've been back to visit, and I love my family. But yeah, I guess I didn't realize that you did the same thing.
Yeah, no,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And where is the? I think I know the answer to this, but maybe I will be surprised. What's the favorite state in the United States that you like to go to? If you could live anywhere here, where would you live besides Colorado? If you had another choice.
I want to know what you think.
You tell me, and then I'll tell you.
Hawaii. So my daughter was born there, and we lived there for 4.5 years, and I absolutely love it. And if it was a little bit more affordable, I would go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and that's where I was actually that's where I thought you were gonna say, but. And it's really funny because I think the first and only time I was in Hawaii, I didn't appreciate it until I do now that I'm older and go, I was really lucky to be able to get out there. Because that was when America West was first initially going out. And there were 14 of us that flew out there on buddy passes.
Oh, nice.
And we it was just an experience that, I was young and dumb, so it's like, kind of mad about some things, that people planned instead of realizing that, to look at the experience and appreciate the things that somebody else might not have been able to get.
Yeah.
So, it's things too, that, the positivity, trying to keep that positive and look at life through a different lens instead of, gloom and doom.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I recently had the opportunity of taking a trip to Europe, and I feel like coming back from that too, and it is a little bit, you don't 100% appreciate it when you're there, and I did. I think I really appreciate it, but I think coming back, I realized how fast paced we are here. We're in America, we are very go on all the time, and they're just not like that there. And it took me a minute when I came back to readjust to constantly being on the go, even in traffic and people cutting you off and stuff, and just in a hurry to get everywhere. And I'm like, why are we in such a hurry? So it's kind of like a mind shift of getting back into that. And
so what you're saying is people need to go to Europe a little bit.
Yes, and maybe slow down a little bit, because I'm really trying to figure out how to be more slowed down in my everyday amidst everybody else going fast paced, because I think it's really hard for us to really be present and be in the moment when you have so many things going on around you, and emails dinging and your phone's dinging at you and everything. So I'm really, really trying to figure out how to be more present and focused in my everyday since I've come back. So
so that life-work balance. So are you a music lover?
I am. I'm not one of those that I know every artist, but I know that it's if I'm feeling down, I put some music on and it immediately almost has an endorphin.
That's what gets you out of your funk.
Yeah, 100%. Or kind of when you're feeling sad and you need to feel sad, it helps you work through some emotions.
Yeah.
So,
because sometimes it's good to feel sad and just get it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. So do you have a favorite genre then, or?
Right now I'm kind of into the rock country. I love Jelly Roll. I just think he's the coolest guy ever. So kind of that genre is what I'm listening to a lot right now.
And do you go to concerts?
I haven't been to a concert in a very long time.
Oh, okay, but you have. What was your first concert? Okay, it's probably going to age you, but mine will age me more.
The Family Values tour with Limp Bizkit.
Oh, really?
And then I can't remember who all of the other people were, but I was a huge fan of Limp Bizkit at the time, so I was so excited to go. But it was very, very out there, heavy metal rock.
Wow, was it here or?
It was in Denver at the Pepsi Center.
Okay, I bet it was a fun concert though.
It was.
And you probably saw a lot of different personalities.
Yes, and that's when I lived in Kansas, and I still don't think that marijuana was legal here, but there was a whole lot of that going on.
Yeah.
So I'm a little small town girl from Kansas. I was a little bit scared.
Yeah, but not knowing now that you're an adult.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. And I was wondering what a perfect day is for you.
Perfect day is a day spent with either family, friends, like really just being able to share like your experiences with them. It doesn't have to include like a lot of super adventure, but probably something outside because I feel like the vitamin D and sunshine definitely is incorporated in my perfect day. And luckily we're in just such a beautiful area that getting outside hiking, doing something along the river, anything like that, but just being outside and being able to spend time with friends and family would probably be my perfect day.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I love about summertime, regardless of wherever I am. If I can have, coffee or drinks or, any kind of meal outside on a patio, that the bugs aren't going to bug us.
Yeah.
I'm happy. And then the laughter that comes along with that. And I think that that's one of the things that if I am feeling kind of, in a funk, calling a friend and just getting out really helps a lot with that, because that laughter is going to come with it, maybe even tears, but at least it is something that is available to most everybody, and if not, networking groups for me right now are, the outlet, I guess, the outlet that I choose to be in. So do you do not a lot of networking throughout town?
I used to do a lot more of it. Right now I'm slightly short-staffed just because I have one of my employees out on long-term paternity leave. So he had a baby recently. So it's required me to be in the office a lot more. So I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back from the networking pieces to be a little bit more present in my office at the moment. But I've always kind of participated in a lot of networking.
Also, too, I'm just curious what your favorite phrase is, because somebody asked on Facebook this morning or yesterday, I think it was, and they asked what phrase is it that drives you crazy, and I answered, what is it, something that you like to hear that's your favorite?
Well, so I have a favorite new quote that I'm trying to really put into practice this year. So I'm actually getting a tattoo, and it's a really symbolic tattoo. And so the phrase or the quote is, "Be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire." And so I'm dedicating my tattoo to my daughter, and it's going to have two birds, like a bigger bird and a baby bird, and the baby bird's going to be flying away.
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
And so as she goes out on her life, I really want her to really chase those things that set her soul on fire, because I feel like a lot of times we get bogged down by the mundane and we forget to hold on to those things that really make life worth living. And so I'm also trying to take time this year to slow down and remember what it is that I'm really passionate about and that really makes me want to get up in the morning, and those things that you really want to hold on to. And I'm, for myself, trying to chase that passionately this year. So.
Oh, very good. So that brings me to my next question then. And of course, we'll probably I'll have to leave you go, but because we could talk forever.
Yes.
The bucket list, do you have one?
Yes, I have a bucket list, and a lot of it's travel. So I have a lot of different places I want to travel. The top one on my list is I really want to go to Machu Picchu in Peru. I feel like that could be such a spiritual place. But even just little things, I bought a stand-up paddleboard and I still haven't been out on it. So that's on the bucket list.
When did you buy that?
I bought it at the end of last summer. And I tried to go out a couple of different times, but the wind here in Colorado can sneak up on you. And when you're a beginner, you don't want to be trying it out in the wind. So I haven't done that. But yeah, I used to have a really written bucket list, and I probably need to do it again. But I know that I've actually marked some stuff off. So if you really sit down and think about what it is that you want to do. Yeah. It does hold you accountable. So everybody should have a bucket list.
Yes. Or, just a list. You don't even have to call it a bucket if you don't really want to, use that phrase. But yeah, there are, that is one thing that I had a conversation with my oldest son over last week. He just got back from Japan, and he went for 2 weeks by himself without a plan.
Oh, wow.
He didn't even have a travel agent. He just bought a ticket, and it was, the cherry blossom. I don't know what they call it there. But but they had the cherry blossoms. And when he first got there, they actually told him, oh no, it's over, it's over. Well, then when he got to the location, because he didn't give up on it, he got to the location and they were in full bloom. And he's like, he's so glad that he didn't listen to somebody else tell him, that it changed his direction. So, and I think that that's what really is important too, is try not to let somebody else change the direction of what you have in mind of what your goals are. Because, you can listen, but you don't always have to take it to heart and make that change if your heart is telling you that you need to do something. So, yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much. I really always enjoy getting together and just having conversation. So thank you again, Tiffany, for joining me. And thank you all for joining me with Coffee with Sandy. I am a mortgage advisor. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about that. I actually can help you with no pressure. Just look at your finances and help you to try to see if you can buy a house, or if it makes more sense for you, if you are in a house, to refinance. Sometimes, trying to save a buck is a lot of stress on you. So let me take a look at that for you and reach out to me. And then Tiffany, how can people reach you?
So you can reach me, but you can come by my office downtown. It's in the Plaza of the Rockies building. I'll say that most people know where that is. Or you can email me or comment. The best thing is to call 719-216-0402. And just to put my little plug in real quick, one of the things that we're really passionate about is really helping to educate people about their insurance. I think that most people kind of just get whatever their agents give them. We really want you to understand what your coverages are, let you have a choice in what you're selecting, and know that there really are a lot of choices. And you want to know what you have so that you know that you're going to feel protected when the time comes. Hopefully you never need to use your insurance, but if you do, you want it to be in place and working properly for you. So
great. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm so glad about it. Thank you, everybody.